Hey, it's Antron Brown, driver of the Macro Tools Top Fuel Dragster, and yes, I'm a 3-time world champ. But you know what? When I win, I go straight to WFO Radio, baby. I want to see you listening in.
For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod Driveline Components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. WFO Radio back on the air following up race 1 of the NHRA Western Swing, the Dodge Powerbrokers Mile-High Nationals. That is right. What a race. It was hot. Oh, it was so hot out there. I've never drank more water in a shorter period of time, like just pounding and pounding and pounding the water, and still like a little dehydrated here a couple of days later, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that we're getting ready for race 2, the DENSO Sonoma Nationals, in just a couple of days, race 2 of the Western Swing. Now, on this show, this is going to be kind of an interesting one because we do have the voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, going to be joining us a few minutes from now, but we're also going to do some on-location interviews. I went around after the race was over, did my best to catch up with as many of our winning personalities as is possible. So this is going to be one of those shows, and the only show of the week, notwithstanding Ignition, which if you didn't see the Ignition show, or hear the Ignition show rather, because it's audio only most of the time, you got to check it out, because one of our WFO Radio Patreons, Troy, who decided he's going to build a bracket car and go bracket racing, like all on the air, listening to WFO, went out and did it and did his first race, got down to the semifinals. And what a great experience. So we've got like pro level stuff, and we got the ultimate grassroots stuff here on WFO this week. Reinhardt will be joining us a few minutes from now, but first we're going to hear from some of our on-location winners just after I tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO, like Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. Matt Hartford gets the win, his first win of the season, 5th of his career. Tremendous victory. Had a 12 reaction time, had a 004 reaction time, was in the top 3 of each session. Great win. It must be those piston rings, right? The bottom line is this. If you're building engines for a living, or if you're having one engine built by a professional, mention Total Seal by name, and they tell you, and I'll tell you, make them your first call, not your final call. Like, oh, I got all these parts and pieces. What rings do I need? No. I've got an idea. I want to build an engine. Call them first. That's what they say. Call Keith Jones, call Lake Speed, call the guys over there, and they'll set you up right. TotalSeal.com, and new episodes of the podcast coming very, very soon. Phillips Connect. That's right. Justin Ashley had a pretty good day out there. It was hot. Phillips-Connect is the website. Smart Trailer Technology is the concept. Put together by Jim Epler, Mr. 300, these sensors and connection to transportation industry folks who are going over the road, who want to protect their drivers, want to protect their loads, and of course, scheduling. But they've got sensors for countless other options. Go to Phillips-Connect.com if you are in the transportation industry, any way, shape, or form. If you sell trailers, if you are a trucking company or have a trucking company, you need to know a little bit more about Phillips Connect, and they've got it going on. Already told you a little bit about FTI performance transmissions and torque converters, .90 racers, big money bracket racers, Pro Mod, Top Dragster, Top Sportsman, any automatic transmission that needs either to be very, very consistent or deal with big power. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. Go to FTIperformance.com and you will find out more information. Super excited to have them on board with WFO Radio. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. And our buddy Marvin Rodak of Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com will tell you a little bit about them later on. But first things first, we're going to kick it out to Bandimere Speedway. And I caught up with a couple of people. Robert Hight going to be first. These are short interviews, so stick with us. And if you're a fan of the driver, you're going to want to share it. And I was using my smooth technology, and it was like, I think it was overheating, actually. So bear with me on some of the video stuff. You can even see me like trying to sort it all out. But Robert Hight was so intent. Like, we got to do the interview, Joe. I was like, yeah, we'll definitely, this one counts. He's like, no, this is a tradition. Because remember, Robert Hight, he says he didn't make that prediction, and he didn't, because commas matter. But here he is going out and winning the first race of the Western Swing. So maybe there's something in the cosmos. Let's kick it out there to Bandimere and try our best to catch up with Robert Hight, driver of the Auto Club Chevy Camaro for John Force Racing.
Here with Robert Hight. Robert Hight, this counts as a WFO interview, okay?
Okay, it has to, okay?
It does.
This is like a ritual.
It is a ritual, and this counts. And I bust your chops about, like, hey, man, you predicted you were going to sweep the Western Swing, and you said no, except here we are, race 1, you've won it. You've won it.
Yep.
Back-to-back on the mountain, like, wow, what's going on with this team?
We're just, everything's clicking right now. I mean, it's hard to put your finger on, but I think it really is just a really good crew chiefs that have a great combination. Everybody's working together. We just didn't have that continuity last year. Combination wasn't right. We're constantly changing things, trying to work it out and find something, and we never did. Okay, and they spent a lot of time thinking, over the winter. I know they spent a lot of time thinking about Denver, because Denver was horrible to this Auto Club team last year. We struggled bad, and came in here and went down the track basically every run. So good job, guys. A lot of hard work, but you can't sweep the swing unless you win Denver, right?
Right. Oh, he's talking about it, guys. He's talking about, okay, that last year, that, the season at sea or whatever, you were lost. But you said they tried a whole bunch of stuff, but maybe some of that stuff that they tried and didn't work kind of helped this happen that's happening now.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
You learn from failing and making mistakes, okay? There's been a lot of times where, okay, I'll give you an example, the header project. Remember the laid back header?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, our first thought was we want the header stood straight up, okay? Because that's going to push down the car and have all kinds of downforce. Whoa, that was horrible. It was like a sled. Right. It was terrible. But we learned something there, okay? Headers need to go the other direction and move back. So it's kind of trial and error. You learn from making mistakes, from what doesn't work. And I have the best guys in the world over here analyzing anything we try and putting their finger on what works and what doesn't work. And things right now are really good for this Auto Club Chevy team. I mean,
5 wins.
Yeah, I would have bet if you wanted to bet me at the beginning of the year that we'd have 5 wins halfway in the season, I'd have bet against it. This class is way too tough. Unfortunately, we're going to need a bunch more if we want to win this championship.
Well, right. Like, you're at 5 wins at this point. We're now at the second half of the season. And, you need a win or 2 in the countdown if you're going to be the champ.
Definitely.
So, but this could be, like, off the top of your head, well, what's your best season ever?
6. 19. In 19, I won 6.
So you're 1 win off your career best season?
Oh, no, this is unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and it went down to the wire there, okay? It went down to the last day at Pomona, which it's going to do again, okay? John Force, Caps, and Hagen, and J.R. Todd, Task is now running good. All those cars are going to be in the mix, come Pomona at the end of the year. And, hopefully Auto Club Chevy's right there too.
All right, what are you going to do in the break between races?
So my team, we're going to go to Utah. That's where my wife's from.
Yeah.
They have a big ranch there. We're going to hang out and do a lot of fun stuff, do some shooting. And
yeah, I just talked to her. I didn't know you guys met skeet shooting.
Yes. Yep.
Because I know you're a shooter, and that's what I talked to her about.
She's way better than me too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're gonna go there and have a good time, grill out, fish, just kind of chill for a day, and then the guys have a long trip to Sonoma, and it's all back to it, trying to do it again.
All right. Well, this counts. This is the WFO interview with Robert, and so everybody out there on WFO Radio, me and Robert, WFO winner of you from the Dodge Powerbrokers Mile-High Nationals. You're in the books. You won it. Good job.
Thank you. Tune in.
There it is. There he goes, Robert Hight. Thanks, guys. Way to go, Robert.
There he goes, Robert Hight. And it counts. That is official. Now, I have a feeling the way things have gone that we will get the opportunity to speak with Robert again. So any questions you may have about Robert Hight and what they did and how they did it, we'll catch up to it. But, it's very tough in between races to catch up with everybody. But I was hustling around after it was all over. I was hustling around trying to catch up with folks and see what happened. Like, for instance, one I really wanted to talk to after it was all over was Matt Hartford. So I did. I ran. I found Hartford. They were tearing down. I was mocking him him about the crew, right? And he's doing it himself, him and Eddie and Ki and Adam and Amber's in there. And let's check out the interview. I see Reinhardt's down there as well, seconds away. We'll get to your comments, of course, everybody. Let's see what happened with Hartford after the race. Here with the Pro Stock winner, Matt Hartford, who does not have a team of people to get his act together.
Sure we do. We got Amber and Chris and Adam and Eddie. That's our team.
All right, so this is the WFO interview, because between races we're doing stuff. So you won.
We won.
You won. Congratulations.
Yeah, we needed to do that. We've had struggled this year, so the last couple races.
Struggled?
Yeah, struggled.
Listen, I feel like I can be more real.
We've sucked. Is that better?
Yeah.
So we won more rounds today than I've won all year.
Is that true?
Won 4 rounds all year till today.
Damn.
So to win 4 today, we doubled our round wins.
There you go, brother.
So moved up to 7th in points. So that's good. 1 round behind Mason, I guess. So it's we're looking forward to Sonoma.
What was different this weekend?
We've got a lot of good data from Denver. We've ran really well in Denver when we've been here, regardless of whose power we've had everybody. We've got a lot of different engine programs up here, and we've always ran really well. So it's what's different is we made good runs when we needed to, and I drove well when we needed to.
Yeah, 12, double of 4.
You get lucky.
Yeah, was that luck really, or what? Like you got up on the wheel?
You have to.
But you did get lucky first round.
I did, 100%. I won by 2 thou. Derek lost by 2 thou. That's anybody's race right there. You can't give somebody 40, 45. Oh, sorry.
Poor Adam is over there. Adam
Hornberger
is over there.
You can't give somebody 47 on the tree and expect to win.
I talked to Heiner and he was not happy. Michael Heiner was upset. He said if he had listened to Adam, I shouldn't say this, any one of 3 different things, he would have won the race, but he didn't win the race, and yet he was there on your door.
Oh, look, that whole team, I said it in the media center, and I sent it, anybody to listen, they're just the greatest team that you can ever ask for. We don't share a lot of information, but we do share information when it's needed. If they need help, we'll help them. If we need help, we'll, and vice versa, back and forth. And the thing is, they do borrow a lot of parts from us. Make sure Heiner sees that. Tell Heiner to start bringing our stuff back. He keeps taking it, never bringing it back.
The rear end, though, but
we had to send Amber over to get it.
Did she get it?
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Did you try to get it?
No, I'm not going to.
Did Eddie try to get it?
No.
Okay. You just send Amber over to get it.
No, seriously, we whenever we need something, we go to their trailer. Whenever they need something, they come to our trailer. So it's, I hate racing in first round. That's the 6th time I've had to race that green car this year. I'm tired of racing that car. Final rounds, I'm okay with.
Aaron Stanfield in the final round, the Stanfield family, Eddie, they won the U.S. Nationals together. That was kind of a cool situation. Yeah. Eddie's birthday, 65. Talk about Eddie.
Well, he's been out here doing this for as long as anybody can remember. He's seen it all. He's one of the old guys out here, and to have that type of talent on our team, making those decisions, making the hard decisions in crunch time, you just can't go wrong. There's a lot of smart people out here, don't get me wrong, a lot of great crew chiefs. But, Eddie is he's just got a lot of inherent knowledge that is different than how the other guys look at it.
All right, what's possible for the rest of the year?
Well, we'd like a broom after Seattle.
Oh! Well,
that's our goal.
Who's the defending race winner in Seattle? We haven't been there for a long time.
We are, but that's really not. I don't care about what happened in the past. We need to go to Sonoma and perform. We're going back to sea level. The entire car will be changed, and every facet of the car will be different from Sonoma. And Denver's an equalizer. The cars punch right up. Sonoma, power takes over again. So we'll see where we stand, and I hope that we can go run as good as we did in Bristol and Norwalk.
All right, good luck.
Thank you, buddy. It's always good. WFO.
WFO.
There we go. Hartford. And Adam Hornberger is watching that. And those two, they've raced 6 times, who was assistant on the Get Biofuel car with Michael Heiner, who might even be out there. Who knows? But good for Hartford and that team. They had such a tough start to the season. He said that they sucked. And just been brutal, right? It's been brutal. But diversity or adversity, right? I think of Terry McMillan, like persistence beats resistance. And they did a really good job of doing exactly that, of persisting through and getting a win. And now they are, they're energized for another couple of years, because that's the way drag racing works. You get down on yourself, and then you get a win, and then you're like, man, we're ready to go, and they're ready to go again. Pro Stock Motorcycle, it was Matt Smith who got the win, and Matt Smith, of course, ran Joey Gladstone in the final round. I caught up with both of them hanging out together. Like, here's the deal, guys. We want to create this thing where, everybody hates each other. And it's this like, the old school 70s where if you win, you're taking food off my plate and out of the mouths of the children. And so there's a hatred and anger. And somehow like that is better than what it is now, where you get interviews like this. I don't think so.
Now, look at this. Look who I caught up with. I caught up with Matt Smith, who's hanging out with, look, the other side of the final round, Joey Gladstone. Guys, this is WFO, so we can chill out during the week, right? I mean, I can do all the hard work and travel stuff I got to do. Yeah, that's fine. Everybody loves Joe. Joe.
Sad if you village.
Okay, so let's talk to Joe first. What do you think Matt Smith was doing this weekend that he had a bike that set every record on the mountain in period?
Matt's the GOAT for a reason. He's a 5-time champ. We got 35, 36 wins, something like that. It's way more than I got. But
yours is coming very soon.
that's what they keep saying. But hey, second place to all these great riders that's no slouch of an effort. I'm really proud of my team and to lose to that bike over there, and that's the Red Rocket over there for those who can't see it. To lose to that gangster and actually give him a good race in the final, I'm good. I'm good, man.
You got a question you want to ask this guy? Is there any information that we can download? We got him trapped. Like, all right, like, how'd you do that?
Hey, if my Suzuki would have ran as fast as his, I probably would have ran it up here. So they did a hell of a job up here.
All right, thank you. All right, and this is a big win. You got a thing going on here. You pulled out the Red Rocket. What you told us, is that the actual Red Rocket, or is it like an amalgamation of other bikes?
The original Red Rocket's at the house.
Oh, it's like on a turntable in there.
The truth comes out.
Yeah, right.
This is all new right here.
Oh, that's cool.
See, I get the real dope.
Yeah,
I find out the real information on WFO. All right, Matt, but guess what? You're going on to Sonoma, just days away. And if you win them both, you sweep the mini swing, right? Oh, he just got called out by Angie. You are not going to win, because I am assuming that means that Angie's going to win.
As long as one of us win, I'll be happy. But, not discredit nothing to Joey here. He's been to 2 finals in a row, but it's a DENSO race, so we need to make it. We need one of us to win that.
I will say, so I've been to a few finals this year, and even last year, when after Corey went down, Matt Smith has been down there at the finish line, about the shutdown area.
Yeah.
Because he's been wanting to be the first one to congratulate. And today he said, "Well, I'm still going to be the first one to congratulate you."
If it happens.
Why?
It's good stuff.
What it is about this kid?
Well,
What is about it, even that? Like, you don't have to do
this
that.
kid, I gave him his original shot on Pro Stock Motorcycle. He rode for Matt Smith Racing the very first time Pro Stock Motorcycle.
2012.
So I told him, if I'm still living and I'm at the races and he wins his first race, I'll be the first one to congratulate him.
Wow. There it is.
He actually didn't take off from Norwalk after the rain delay. I said, y'all take off tonight? No. Why? Well, I'm going to stick around in case you win. It's pretty cool. I look up to this guy. He's a good guy.
Well, and that's why we all put so much into this sport. Good people like these two. Guys, congratulations. Great final round, great show.
Thank you.
See you in a few days.
Thanks, Joe.
Angie.
Good job, MSR.
That's it. Angie, who's going to win out there in Sonoma?
Angie Smith.
I'm sorry. I hope it's a DENSO bike, and I hope it's a pink DENSO bike.
So let me tell you something?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the Suzuki out of Sonoma.
Oh, really? You're locking it in? Is that okay? You're locking it in now.
Locking it in.
We'll see what happens on Friday.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
And I'm riding the Red Rocket.
WFO.
Things just got crazy.
And he's riding the Red Rocket, which is cool. Hopefully you guys are liking this stuff, right? Because I'm hustling around. We're going to get to Reinhardt. Reinhardt's up in a second, so share the show. We're almost done. But Joey Gladstone, Matt Smith, that's what's happening after these races are over. Everyone is tearing down. It's not, like contrived hatred. We're not doing that. Instead, it's something I think that is so much better. So much better when, it depends on how you feel. But that's the racing experience that I had coming up where, actually there was probably more hatred when I had my experience of racing coming up. So we heard from Matt, we heard from Hartford. We heard from Robert. Leah and Tony, super busy, but we got friends on that team that are friends of WFO that we love. Starting off with Booger, Chris Afflerbach, champion. Check him out.
Bugs, what's up, brother?
Hey, you got a video podcast?
Yeah, little clips. All right, it's actually a technology. Dude, you won. You're with a different team, and you won. Like you decided to go to IndyCar, and then you're like, screw this. We're going back to drag racing. Sports car. I'm coming back to drag racing, and now you're a winner once again.
Fantastic.
How's it feel?
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's a race I never won.
Well, what about the challenge? Like these guys and run for Tony. Like that's
What
pretty.
challenges?
That's different.
We're all
like,
veterans. There's
yeah,
no
no.
challenge.
I like it.
Just do what we do, bro.
This is not the last win of the season, is it?
Oh, heck no. At least I hope not.
I like where your head's at. Congratulations, brother.
This is the start of many, buddy. Start of many.
Say goodbye to everybody.
Hey, see you out there.
WFO.
And that's Booger, Chris Afflerbach, and Mama Boogs is probably out there. And finally, to bring it all home with what was probably the best of the like impromptu interviews. Everybody knows Red Wayne Waite, like Red. Right? It was with Antron for many, many years and then was over with Force. And that's what the whole deal with Tony Stewart Racing is. Like they assembled this team, built, not bought. And Red doesn't even need me, right? It's like the debrief session. With
Red.
I'm
here with Red.
All right, I'm here on WFO with Joe.
WFO.
We're here at Tony Stewart Racing.
Yeah, what's going on here, Red?
Handled everything we could possibly handle here at Bandimere Raceway in Denver, Colorado.
Yes.
We only qualified number 3. We were shooting for number 1.
Yeah.
But we ran all weekend, really clean, really good. Sunday kind of we stumbled a little bit. The play deal was a little sketchy. Knocked the flywheel off. We heard some things. But we handled it. Got it all back together. We were getting back to the starting line. And look at where we ended up at. The winner's circle. Drinking PBRs with Joe. WFO.
All right, we go, Red. That's not going to be the last time, right?
No, it ain't going to be the last time. We got many more to go.
Heck no. That you just heard. You heard.
And there it is. You heard from the winner's circle out there at Bandimere Speedway. All right, let's bring him on the show. The voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, who is back in Tucson. What's up, AR? How are you?
I'm great. It's a beautiful sunny day, and I've got my laundry done, and I'm packed, and I'm waiting for my phone to buzz and say it's time to check into your flight tomorrow. So all is well here.
What's the temp?
Oh, it's not bad. It's only 96.
Only 96. I don't know if that's actually Leah out there, but I think it is.
It's 98, but it is only 10:30 in the morning, so it should be 105 today.
We have 150% humidity here in South Florida. But, if that's Leah, congratulations. Can't wait to have you on the show. Amazing stuff, right? What a weekend out there at the Dodge Powerbrokers. Let's start off with Leah, right? What a meaningful victory for her. This race, the connection to Dodge, I like to see racers like claw their way from the bottom to where they want to be the top, and that's exactly what they did. All right, there. Always leave it to Red to say how it is. That's right, Leah. I love Red and Boogs, and those guys like pulled from championship teams as this team was assembled, and they got their first win, and I would say, watch out now.
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting to watch because, their first run, they knocked the tires off of it. The car didn't go 3 feet. And I said and speculated at the time that there had to be some kind of malfunction. And then I went and talked to Neil, and he said, nope, I missed it. That bad? And he said, yeah. He said, we don't have any Denver notes. When they got the team, they bought the truck, they bought the trailer, they bought the hardware, they bought that, but they did not get the database. So he doesn't even have the notes from last year. So he said he went in there with kind of a blind guess, but when it did that, he said, okay, the motor's hotter than I thought it was going to be, and I know how to deal with it when the motor's running that hot. And by hot, I mean powerful. I don't mean like something wrong. And so they came back second run and went to the pole and looked like they were going to get their first number 1 qualifier. And I don't know I don't know how you prove this, but I honestly believe that in the last session when they got knocked from first to third, that gave them more incentive, that it just made them mad. It's like, you know what? We had the best freaking car for the last 2 runs, and somebody just stole our number 1 qualifier. We'll show them. And I really think they kind of carried some of that attitude into Sunday because they came out, you qualified third, right? Okay, we're in good shape. Yeah. Which one of Donald's nephews do I get to race first? Oh, look, Antron Brown. I mean, come on, really? And, they didn't really have an easy run all day. Yes, they had a bye in the final, but they came up there ready to go against a Coletta car and made a good, solid run down the racetrack. And, who knows what would have happened, right? But they were there. They had a great car. They certainly deserved to win the race from my perspective. After the one throwaway run they had in the first round, they had a good car all day long. And maybe they didn't get the run they would have loved to have in the second round, but that was the only one that really looked like it wasn't perfect or according to plan. But it was good enough, and that's what you got to be. The
journey. This is such a journey. It's so difficult, and seeing them in those moments, and getting a chance to talk with Smoke after it was all over, the satisfaction of the challenge, right? The challenge of this team of assembling these guys, and whereas the Dickey's team was together already, and they just kind of brought them over. This was something else, and he said also that was very special because it's his wife. It's a totally different experience. It's a totally different experience. It's beyond professionalism. That's part of it, but it's beyond professionalism. And I can't help but think that this is not a one-off. This team is now feeling it. You heard Chris Afflerbach say, we're all champions on this team. We just got to gel. We got to get it right. Mike Domagala comes over to Neil in a brief moment on the starting line. Away from everyone. Thanks for bringing me back. Like, really great moments are happening over there. So I would just say to everyone, watch out, because you got another player on the field now. And very exciting. And guess what? Just a couple of days away, we get to see him again.
Well, Tony Stewart Racing is 11 races old, right? Their entire history, they're 11 races old. This year, what team has more wins than they do?
Oh, wow. Brittany, Salinas.
No. What team?
Oh, what team?
Has more than Tony Stewart Racing.
Oh, then Tony Stewart Racing, as in including Dickey in that team?
Yeah.
No, I guess none, right? Because Hagen's got 4.
John Force Racing.
Yes, John Force Racing with Robert.
So,
you're asking me to do math, Reinhardt. I'm going to ask you to do math next time.
Okay, but the point I'm making is John Force Racing has been a 2-car operation, at least, for over 30 years. Tony Stewart's been in existence for 11 races as a Nitro team. And the only team out there that has more wins is John Force Racing. That's pretty amazing. And that's even if you go and look at alliances, okay? We're not necessarily officially team members, but we know Justin Ashley and Antron Brown are alliance. If you wanted to count them as a team, count them. They still don't get there. If you look at everybody else out there that's working as an alliance, they just don't get there. I think that's the most impressive thing. And yes, the funny car team came over intact. And yes, that was already a championship winning team, but everybody else's team has been intact for a whole lot longer. And I think that's the most impressive thing. And I also really appreciate the fact because, I've known Tony a long time and I know a lot of the guys over there on that team fairly well. And you get to the point where it's like, okay, we're going on, first round and first round and first round. And I think a lot of people from the outside look at Tony Stewart, what he has accomplished with everything he's ever put his hands on. He's been successful. Going, he can't be happy. Oh, there's sooner or later, boy, the hammer's coming. Something's going to happen. And that was never the thing. It was always, just keep working, guys. Just keep your head down. Keep working. Keep doing what you're doing. And he had full confidence in them. And they now, and I think Booger or Red said it the best. Said we need to just gel. You put together an all-star team, they're not necessarily going to be the best for the first game they play. Give them some time to build that chemistry and get used to each other. But I think that I think that's the beginning of better things. I'm not ready to say yet that she's going to win the championship this year, but they had a good day in Denver, and I do believe that confidence builder will help everybody. And I also think that it'll help everybody. Celebrating in the winner's circle with a beer is a pretty easy way to get your team to gel.
Yeah, definitely. Pumping up the music. The dog is running around. They're having a good time. Everybody was having a good time. And again, that's where it is. And the husband-wife double SRX, NHRA, Saturday, Sunday kind of thing, that's some sort of historic first. I don't know how to categorize it because I don't think it's ever happened before, but that was something too.
Well, yeah, since I don't know that Graham and Courtney ever won back-to-back on the same weekend. Other than that, I don't think there's a whole lot of opportunities for something like that to happen. But, it was good that Tony made the trek out there. I went over and actually talked to him on Sunday morning a little bit before the race started. I had some other business, some non-NHRA business that I had to chit-chat with him about, and that seemed like the best time to do it. And, he got in late, was tired, but he said, I'm not going to miss this. I'm here to support my team. And, and obviously if he hadn't been there, he'd be kicking himself right now.
Exactly. Everybody is like wishing Leah congratulations in the comment section. Love the Denver fans. Been on the ropes throughout the day, but at least I can do it for my diehard fans. It was hot. It was hot. Chris mentioning the autograph signing late into the night, Friday and Saturday. It was brutal out there, guys. Like, I was feeling it yesterday. I know Reinhardt, what? Yeah, because you're Arizona. That was nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
go ahead.
You're not outside.
Complain to everybody about how hot it was.
You're not outside. Look at you right now. Yeah, I always see you. 100 this, 100 that, but you're inside. We were outside on the starting line. How about those 2 oil downs? Oh, my goodness. What a nightmare. Reinhardt's up there in the air-conditioned booth, which now I know a little something about, and we're out there on the starting line, like dying out there. We're dying, but we toughed it out.
Keep in mind, I did that for 20-plus years, okay? It's not like I just showed up and never left the booth ever. I know what it's like out there. But
let's move on. Let's move forward.
Would you rather have it cold and rainy?
No rain. Anyway, bottom line, great win, and we'll go more into detail. Leah has been gracious enough to come on the show on a regular basis every time she's won in her career, frankly, and so we're going to catch up with her at some point. I was talking to Ashley, and I was going to do one of those interviews with Leah after it was all over, and I just really kind of thought, like right in the moment, that they had been doing photos for over an hour, that this deserves like a longer WFO sit-down interview. Hopefully, Leah, you're cool with that, and we are going to get that done at some point. And who knows, right? She's the only Top Fuel racer that can sweep the Western Swing, so maybe it'll be a 2-for-1 in the future. We shall see. Now, you heard from Robert Hight. Robert's got 5 wins already. 5 wins. His career high is 6. That's something that was a little shocking to me, that Robert is 1 win away from a career high, and that team, as gelled as they can get, got this one done with authority.
They did, and they had, they did have the good fortune of Matt going out early, because he looked like the only guy on the mountain that really had a car that could run with him on a regular basis. You look at what they did in qualifying. Those 2 ran heads up 4 times, and Matt, I think, got their first 3 out of the 4. But when he was out in round number 1, then it was a matter of, can anybody else step up and run with the Auto Club Chevy? And as it turned out, the answer was no. There were a couple of cars that certainly ran well. Bob Tasca right now has really turned his program around in the last 5-6 weeks. They now are a legitimate threat. Ron Cap's still a legitimate threat every week. But if you go back and look, the 2 best cars all weekend long were Matt Hagan and Robert Hight. And once Hagan's team made the mistake in round number 1, I think it was Robert Hight's race to lose, and they didn't.
Yeah, well, it's a heavyweight battle, right? It's Ali and Frazier just slugging on each other, and it's going to get more intense as time goes on. Yeah, Dickie and those guys, they blew the tires off, but Jack Wyatt, right? Like he gets a moment, and it does show you that on any given Sunday in the NHRA and in the semis, Jack gave him a ride. It was, 475. They got down through there, but Robert and Jimmy and Chris, they figured out how to slide it down through there. In the final round, Robert's 40, Task is 48. Great lights, but 406. Seems like Jimmy, the part-time RV mechanic, knew exactly what to do. Eric wants to know, Alan, who is Evan, and why is he so bad to hang out with?
Go hang out with him sometime and then let me know.
But who is
Evan is our boss. He is vice president of live events for NHRA. He is the guy that is in charge of the stuff that goes on inside the stadium. What goes up on the Sunoco Vision, what interviews go in, who does what, keeping track of schedule. Even scheduling things like autograph sessions and other stuff that goes on in the midway is all part of under his purview. And there are times when we're in the heat of the battle and he on the headset can be a little overbearing, and so every once in a while we have to remind him that give us a second, we'll get this straight now. Evan's not a bad guy at all, but anybody that knows me, if you are my friend, then there's going to be some snark going back and forth, and I expect it to come my way. So that's what it's all about. The beauty of making fun of him is I can speak to a lot more people than he can.
Oh yeah, he's totally cornered in there, but he's the guy who puts in the invoices. Leah out there with the answer. You got it, Joe. Thank you, Leah. We'll talk in the future. Congratulations, by the way. Quick moment to Leah. Congratulations, like a spectacular win, and you deserve it. Like that was a big fight. But someone says, since you're wearing an Alan Johnson Performance Engineering shirt, Alan, are you surprised that Coletta hasn't done better with AJ on board?
Yes.
Sean made the final, but at the same time, you could say that it's surprising. Let's hear your analysis.
Yes, I think it's surprising. But I'm not going to write him off. I've known Alan a long time, and I've watched him do things for a long time. And personal feelings set completely aside, if you look at his history, and I firmly believe that a big issue is that he does no longer have his team. And everybody on the Coletta Motorsports team is absolutely, professional experience. They know what they're doing. I'm not saying that. But, you took Tom Brady away from New England and you put him down in Tampa Bay and he won the Super Bowl. Did anybody expect that the first year? Because when you're working with different linemen and different running backs and different receivers, I don't care how good you are, it usually takes a little time to get in sync. And when Alan made the move over to Coletta's, his team didn't come with him. You remember, his team's been with him since the Army days. They left DSR to go to the Al-Anabi team. Then they all went with him when he went to Brittany. They all went with him when he went over to Salinas, and he had instant success. And the thing is really simple. Anybody that's ever worked on anything does understand. You tell Joe, hey, okay, make that 13 thousandths, and then you tell me make it 13 thousandths, and his 13 and my 13 might vary by a half a thou, even though the feeder gauge goes in the same way. But it makes a difference when you're doing the stuff that they're doing. And I think that the Coletta team is learning the Allen way. And I believe come countdown time, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I'll be very surprised if they don't win a race by then. But I also think on the other side of that, look at what Mike Salinas has done. And he has that team. Rob Flynn comes in, who is a smart guy who's been around this a long time. He's got the car, he's got the setup, he's got the notes, and he's got the team. So somebody that's been over there with, for 5 or 6 years comes and tells Rob, hey, consider this because this is what we did in the past. Rob is smart enough to listen and pay attention and go with that. And so I think that's part of the success for Mike Salinas' team as well. I think this is a perfect example of just how important the guys that work on the car really are in order for the crew chief and the driver to look good. And again, it's not that anybody doesn't know what they're doing or doing a bad job. It's just different. You've got to get everybody in sync and everybody on the same page. And I firmly believe that it's coming. I've watched too long. It's kind of like when Ron Tolber went someplace new. You always knew that car's going to end up in the winner's circle. May not happen tomorrow, but it's going to. I remember when Dick LaHaye first went to, and this goes back in time, obviously, when Snake hired Dick LaHaye. Dick came in and he looked around and he looked at all the stuff and he said, we can win a championship here in a couple of years. And Snake said, what's wrong with next year? He said, it's not going to happen that fast. It's going to take time to get everybody in, and it just takes time. And a couple of years later, he won a championship, and then he won another one. But that's if you come in with your entire team, which is what Alan's done the last few times that he's made the move, he's come in and be instantly successful because he brought everything with him. And if you hire a new head coach and he's allowed to bring his team with him, you're going to be successful a little faster than if you hire a new head coach and he now has to teach all of your guys, this is my system, this is the way we do things, this is how it has to be. And again, it's not that anybody doesn't know what they're doing, it's not that there's somebody over there, it's just a different system, a different way of doing things, and it's coming, believe me, it's coming.
Steve says you should be the team principal for the rumored Red Bull team. Have you heard any of this Red Bull Top Fuel rumors? I have heard it from a couple of people, but I'm putting no stock into it, although I think it would be great. And, Coyle says you could tune one of these things, so I'm sure you could buy and order some parts and yell at people when they make a mistake. But have you heard this at all?
I mean, have I heard it? Yes. Have I seen some chatter on the internet? Yes. I don't know. We'll see. Red Bull, I think, could do, obviously they have the budget to do whatever they want. I do think, though, that if you look at Red Bull, historically, Red Bull's not going to come in and sponsor WFO racing. If Red Bull's going to come into something, they are going to have a team. They're not going to just come in and write a check and put their name on somebody's car. And again, historically, that's what they've always done. If they go into a sport, they are going to start their own team. They're going to have their own entity. And yeah, if they wanted to hire me for team manager, I'm willing to. Let's have lunch.
Let's have lunch. Exactly. So here's the deal on that. I heard it a couple of times. My rumor mill meter is still very, very low, but only because of pessimism. I think it actually fits with Red Bull very well. And I think that they're all about extreme stuff and beverage sponsorship we had for many years here. We're a beverage crowd. It works very well with nitro drag racing. I think it would be very smart and very reasonably cost compared to what they're used to paying for things. And so I would encourage it. I think it just seems too good to be true, right? Have Tony come in 22 and have Red Bull come in, and that would be just too amazing, right? And then again, I'm sitting on the starting line talking to Tony Stewart about his first Top Fuel win, and I'm kind of shocked that that's happening too. And it is. So you never know. I think drag racing is a place to be. And I will share something that Tony said in the winner's circle, and when we have Leah on in the future, we can talk about it. But he was just comparing and contrasting like sprint car racing over here and NASCAR over here and drag racing as the very Goldilocks comfortable middle that has the professionalism and the coverage, but also the grassroots fun and feeling. And it was like a great place to be. And that makes a lot of sense to me also. So come on, Red Bull, bring it on. There's a lot of guys that need jobs and want to work, and another team that wants to go out there and kick some tail. How about Hartford? Wow.
How about Hartford?
4 wins in one day equals his whole total of round wins for the whole season. And they were fired up, and they needed it.
Leah had a day like that as well. It was a bust out because, she hadn't won 4 rounds all season long and got it done. And yeah, for Hartford, and I think he'd been in the same position as Leah's team had. He'd had a car that was capable of making a whole lot more noise than it had been. But they had made a couple of mistakes along the way. They shot themselves in the foot a couple of times along the way. And they also just had some stupid bad racing luck. Like when you win a race by 1,000, 2,000, 3,000ths of a second, that could have easily gone the other way. Everybody in racing knows it. But when they start going your way, that's the difference. You come up there and you go, you look at Erica in the first round, right? She's 0-22 on the tree and gets beat on a hole shot. So what are you going to tell Erica? Okay, you can't be 0-22 ever again? No. You're going to put that behind you. You're going to go forward, and you're just going to know that next week it's going to be better. And that's part of what Matt had been going through. He'd be coming out on the short end of some really close races. Said a couple of times the team had shot themselves in the foot one way or the other, and they would tell you the same thing. They knew they had a car, and they knew they were capable of better results than you were seeing. And this weekend, it just came together. It's as simple as that. Now, the question is, can you continue to build on that momentum? Because you don't want that to just be a fluke. You don't want to get to Indy and go, hey, look, Matt's won 6 races this year, and 4 of them were at Denver. So now you've got to keep that momentum going. And one of the things that a win does for you, whether you're Matt, whether you're Leah, or whether you're anybody else, is it gets your opponents to look at you a little differently. Because, if you pull up the starting line, and I'm sorry, but psychology is psychology. You can tell me until the end of I don't even pay attention to the other lane. But when somebody in a funny car pulls up in the other lane and goes, that's Robert, they think about it differently than if they were pulling up there going, that's Reinhardt. And because you haven't won a race in over a year, people think differently. When they pull up now in Sonoma and look over it again, whether it's Leah, whether it's Matt, whether it's going to be, that's the car that won last week. And what you can't do is follow that up with a couple of first-round losses. I'm not saying you got to sweep the swing, but you have to build on that momentum. You have to keep turning on some win lights on Sunday in order to keep yourself in the front of anybody's mind. And again, you can tell me until the end of time that you block that stuff out, and I don't believe it. I will never believe it. I've spent a lot of time playing sports, and when you're playing the team that's leading the league. When you're playing the team that's on a 5-game or 6-game winning streak. You know that. You can't just go up there and go, okay, look, this is just another batting practice. You go up there going, we need to make no mistakes to win this. And it just changes your mentality a little bit.
Absolutely. Hartford up to 7th in the points. Wasn't that long ago. They were outside of the top 10. They've had steady progress, and the performance is really where it's been, the qualifying effort and performance. But Pro Stock, as tough as is ever. And Christian Quadra, though, I think had a breakout race as well. Yep. And I was excited about that because of Frank Iacone. And we all know Frank. Frank has been involved consistently in the sport for probably longer than any other person. He's been out there actively won the first ever 500 cubic inch race, and has been making engines, but hasn't really had enough clients and customers out there, and was also being asked to do, a lot of the other stuff on the car. And when the Quadras did the deal with Elite, where Elite kind of handles the suspension and all of that stuff, and Frank could focus on the engine. Look at this. Now you got Frank Iaconio racing engine making power with his own engines in a way that Christian Quadra was at the front all weekend long and was 001 red to Hartford. Otherwise, could have won that race. He needed a really good light, needed a 00 to win. But that's just great. That's great.
It was. And, the more players we have, the better. I don't think anybody wants to go to a race and go, okay, well, it's going to be, one of these two or one of these three that win. You want to see upsets. You want to see some of the underdogs. You want to see more people contending. And I think that makes it much more interesting for the fans, especially to pay attention to what's going on in the early runs. And, the Quadras have made a commitment. They've made no bones about the fact. We are here. We're staying. We're going to spend what it takes, the time, the money, the effort, that we're going to be power players in the category. And I think you're starting to see some very solid results from those promises.
And in Pro Stock Motorcycle, you heard from Matt Smith. Matt dropped the news already. He's going to run the Suzuki in Sonoma, assuming that he can stick to that between the other day and Friday. But I believe he will. I appreciate the news, Matt. That was great. And the camaraderie, he and Joey Gladstone, right? Hanging out, having a beer after it was all over. I like that aspect of our sport. I wouldn't want people to be, not everybody can get along like that, but we got enough people getting along like that. Joey's on the door, just knocking. It's going to open at some point. But Matt Smith just dominated on this given day, both ends of the track record. No one within, the closest anyone got, I think, was 500ths on the day when he went 09 and Eddie went 14.
Well, I think it was interesting to note a couple things. One, yes, Matt dominated on the mountain. The fact that he went 190 miles an hour in the heat of the day and did that twice was, I think, the most impressive thing he did. But I also think that he made a smart decision coming up and bringing out the Buell because he had such good notes on it, had such a good book on it. And if you look at, I think the Vance and Hines team is a perfect example of that. They had not been on the mountain with a Suzuki for how many years? And so they came up there, and in qualifying, they didn't start off great, but then they were getting better, and they were getting better, and they were getting better. And by the time we got to Sunday, they had closed the gap, cut it at least in half of where they were earlier in the weekend. So Matt coming in with such a big head start because he had all the notes on that motorcycle. Had Vance and Hines gone back and brought out their old motorcycles, I don't think they would have started a tenth and a half behind and then started trying to close the gap. I'm not saying they could have beat Matt, but I'm just saying it would have been different. And I think if Matt had rolled the Suzuki out, that it would have taken him 2 or 3 runs to find the sweet spot, just like it did everybody else. So I think Matt's a smart guy for doing what he did. I think, if I'd have been in that position, I think if you've got that motorcycle that did what it did last year in Denver and you left it in the trailer, that's really not very smart. Unless you are locked into we're paying you $20 bazillion to make sure that you never ride anything but a Suzuki, and Matt's not in that position. So he did what he needed to do. He made the smart move. He won the race, and now he's going to go back to his R&D program because it's just going to take time to build a notebook on the Suzuki stuff up in Denver, and you didn't have time. You had 4 runs, and then you had to go racing. And Matt came in with a gigantic head start from an information standpoint over everybody else.
Yeah, and Kevin McKenna and his 5 things we learned from the Dodge Powerbrokers Mile-High Nationals says that Matt doesn't miss a trick, right? Like that's being a next level racer, like thinking about it, like, what's the point? Let's go out there, let's win this one, put it in our pocket, get the race win, and we'll go back to get that money, right? Although Angie was like, he's not winning Sonoma. And we'll talk about Sonoma in a second. But a great race out there, top to bottom. Other winners, Tyler Redars. Go ahead, Al.
I'm sorry. Just one of the things about Matt is that Matt pays attention to everything. And you're not going to get one over on Matt as far as, a rule of procedure. That, when he rolled the Suzuki out or the Buell out of the trailer in Houston earlier this year because he was struggling with the Suzuki, mid-race. And everybody said, well, you can't do that. Sure I can. Because he knows. And I remember, we're going into Sonoma, and I remember vividly. I don't remember what year it was, but I remember he started the bike, started to burn out, it died. Okay, well, you're allowed 1 restart. He started the bike, it died. He started it again. So you can't do that. Yes, you can. show me where it says I can't. And he ended up running the race. And then literally I had people coming to me saying, and I'm going, I remember Dave McClellan saying it. I remember Bob Fry saying it. I never looked it up. Well, Matt did. After he'd heard it a couple of times, he at some point went, is that right? And found out, knowing that someday this is going to come in handy. And when he needed to know, he knew. Where a number of the other motorcycle racers, simply because we've heard it for so long, it must be true. If bike died the second time, they didn't even try to start it again because, well, you're not allowed to. But Matt knows things like that. He pays attention, and if there is a loophole, if there is an angle, if there is something, he's going to take advantage of it. I mean, he's, for all that he does on the motorcycle, he also pays a lot of attention to practice, procedure, can I do this? And if he does, if he learns, hey, this is legal, but I don't think anybody else knows it, he's not going to tell everybody else. He's going to wait until it's his advantage to use it, and then, hey, if they want to go do their homework, let them go do their homework. Another guy that did that really well was Tony Schumacher. There was nothing that happened that Tony Schumacher wasn't aware of. He always knew going to the starting line, what do I have to do for lane choice? What do I got to do for this? What do I got to do for that? If there was a rule change, Tony Schumacher knew, and he sat down and analyzed, when this comes into play, what can I do? How am I I want to make sure that I don't end up on the wrong side of it simply because I didn't know. And paying attention to that kind of stuff is what makes champions.
It really does. Well, I think about Billy Martin and baseball with the George Brett Pine Tar game. Brett comes up, hits a home run. Billy Martin goes like, yeah, the Pine Tar is above 14 inches, so that's a DQ. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're out, right? Like knowing the rule book. Don Shula taking a safety on his own team. Like goes back, they run back, they take a safety. What? Can you do that? Yeah, we did that. That's right. We took a safety. Time ran out. Game is over. So you lose. I love that aspect of racers, that they're gonna beat you one way or another. And great job by Matt Smith and his team. And this guy says, I wish I knew exactly who it was, this is one of the best seasons in NHRA history. I agree with that. And that was the premise of my first column in the National Dragster this year. Like, this has the potential to be the best season ever of NHRA drag racing. Will it, won't it? We don't know just yet. But to the halfway point, Alan, I don't see what the downside is. We've got all these teams coming in, shaping up, getting strong at just the right time. And Bandimere, I don't know why they didn't call that thing a sellout. I don't know, because it felt like a sellout, and I don't know where you would have put more people if you had them.
Well, it's, for as many times as we'd like to, set the professional announcer clearly, as many times we would love to be able to announce a sellout every week, but we're not going to say it if it's not true. It's literally as simple as that. There've been a couple of times where they've been talking about it, and I remember one time in particular, the guy came up and he said, 116 short. We're not announcing it. And now you can go, well, yeah, but, count the team members, count the drivers, count the hospitality. That doesn't count. A sellout is when you have sold a ticket for every available seat. And if it happens, we're going to announce it. And then inevitably somebody goes, oh, I saw 3 empty seats over in Section B. And it's like, yeah, and you saw people 10 deep at the fence too, pal. But a sellout it's a math equation. And this is not an NHRA thing. This is a stadium thing, whether you're talking about sports, whether you're talking about a concert, whether you're talking about a comedy club, if you sell as many tickets as you have seats, you have sold out. That doesn't mean you can't sell standing room only. If you sell a ticket for every seat, you have sold out. And I can't imagine we missed by much, but we would have announced it if it was true. The Saturday crowd was spectacular. The Sunday crowd was also very strong. For whatever reason, at this point in time at NHRA, it seems like Saturday always seems to be a little bit bigger crowd than Sunday. So, hey, race fans, if you want to come out when it's a little less crowded, come on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. Sunday or Friday. And I understand that the 4 qualifying sessions. I know times are tough and all that, but 4 qualifying sessions really is a cool thing. And everybody said that made better racing on Sunday. Tyler Wodarczyk in Super Stock, John Breimer, Stock Eliminator back to the 1980s, Marty Smith in Super Comp, Chris Whitfield in Super Gas, Dave Scott, Top Sportsman, and Chandler Thiessen, who goes dead on in the final round, part of the family out there in Top Dragster. Just a great race top to bottom. And like that, we move on to Sonoma, the Western Swing, race number 2. Any final thoughts on Bandimere before we move on?
No, just that, you know what, it was good. It was a good weather weekend. It was a good weekend overall. Minimal issues on the racetrack. We did have a couple of long cleanups on Sunday, which has been very rare for the last 5 years or so. So hopefully that would be a mountain-only thing and we can move on. But, you know, again, the Bandimere family and their people and their staff making the event run smoothly, being, you know, what can we do to help? Whatever we need, let's make sure this happens. They're as good as it gets. Their track drying equipment, we should have everywhere it rains.
Okay, can we say that? Like, because I talked to Larry Crisp, and you had mentioned, because I hadn't seen those last year. I've been there every year the past couple of years, with exception of the pandemic year, like 2020, we didn't go there, right? But I've never seen those machines. But I did see John Bandimere II himself in his suite talking about they've got a 101-inch squeegee, and the track is so flat that it can suck all that water up, and that they dry the track way quicker. I don't want to spend NHRA's money, especially if it's money that's scheduled to go to me or you, but we need a couple of those things. It was insanity how quickly the track dried, plus the sun came out, and there was a big breeze, and it was 1,000,000 degrees, but those things were sick technology. Just another example of being cutting edge up there in Bandimere.
Well, and part of it, too, is you look at the fact that it's Bandimere, okay? In the summertime, it is almost a daily occurrence. Oh, is it raining? Yep, it must be 4 o'clock. That's just the way it is. You know, the clouds build up on one side of the mountain, then they come over, and then they slide on out of the way. So you're going to have a 20, 30-minute shower, 40-minute shower. That's standard procedure. It's going to happen. Well, if you're going to take 3 hours to dry the track every Friday or Saturday night, that's not going to go well for your customers that come out there every week. And so it's gotten to the point, and I talked to a couple of local racers, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's just, you know, that's dinner time. Oh, look, it started raining. Okay, let's go get a cheeseburger. Let's go, because, you know, we'll be ready to race again in about an hour." And so they take a break, and, you know, very quickly after the storm quits or after the rain quit, Larry and his guys, you know, his boys are known as the traction twins, literally around the world. You know, hey, we got a problem over here in the Middle East. Okay, well, send Kale and Cody over, and they'll fix it. And when they're all there and his guys all jump on it, it didn't take long to do. So they basically found those, put this thing together out of necessity, because they have to have them to run their show every week. We certainly wouldn't need them to run every week, but there are a couple of times during the year when it might be really nice to have. And I don't know if, hypothetically, if we're going to Maple Grove and the forecast is iffy, can we lease them? I mean, is there something, you know, we could get them for the weekend and not necessarily have to make a huge investment and, oh, what are we going to do? Get another semi and haul this? But, you know, is there a possibility someplace, if we know if we're looking at a distinct possibility of having a need this weekend? I don't know, but I thought that also really helped when you know going in, this is going to be a problem. So let's figure out ahead of time a better way to solve the problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, the jet fuel, the cost of jet fuel with the jet, nothing against the jet, but it feels like old technology now based on what we just saw. Watching them zoom, man, those things are fast. Like, I don't know, I bet you that thing is like a 17-second quarter mile. They move, and they're drying the track, and it was amazing to watch. I kind of wish I had done a time-lapse video of the drying, because it was amazing how rapidly they worked. And, you know, the WFO universe is out there talking about it, right, Alan? You said it. My people have said it. It's part of the conversation of the race right now, is that the track drying equipment really worked, and hopefully everybody out there is taking notice, and this is something that maybe will show up, especially in the countdown, the U.S. Nationals. You know we're going to get a rain shower at Indy and Maple Grove, like you said. There are some tracks we always get one. Maybe.
Well, I also want to, you know, for the record, it's not like NHRA has just been sitting on their hands for the last few years going, "Oh, this is what we got. It's good enough. We quit. We're not going to." They tested the NASCAR Air Titan system a couple of times, and it simply wouldn't do what we needed it to do. But when, you know, NASCAR comes out with it, "Hey, look at this thing. We could dry a racetrack now in half the time that we used to, and we can go back to racing." Well, let's get one over here and check it out. And, I mean, I was there at, at Charlotte. They took a water truck and, you know, watered the track. And then they brought up a couple of Air Titans right behind it. And they like down and back and down and back. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's now good enough that we would start using the jet and doing, because it doesn't get the racetrack 100% dry, but NASCAR doesn't need it 100% dry. You know, yes, they're running with rain tires now, but even on the oval stuff, if there's a slight dampness, the NASCAR guys can get away with that, and the cars will go ahead and finish drying the track. They don't have to reapply traction compound. They don't have to put rosin down. They don't have to, so they don't need the perfect dry that NHRA needs. So again, NHRA, from a corporate standpoint, has been looking, is there a better solution to this? And I certainly know they were taking notice this weekend, so I would guess that at this point, there's a little bit more research going on, a little more information gathering taking place.
Well, now everybody's talking about it too. Like, that's a big part of it, right? Like, has the public noticed? Did the public see what they saw? And the answer is they did, and they were blown away, and they were amazed by it. Yeah, I think that Air Titan works a lot because of banking, right? It kind of is just like mini jets. It's air jets that push the water off, and gravity and banking really help with that. This actually pulled the water off the track, kind of like that supercharged thing that we got on the top end of the racetrack that comes out from time to time that we won't say what it's called. But
the Super Sucker.
The Super Sucker. That's
right.
What it is. It's the Super Sucker. This is kind of like a more modern self-propelled version of that. But there were a bunch of them, and it just deserves hats off. Okay, let's talk about race 2 of the Western Swing. The DENSO Sonoma Nationals, just days from now, will be out in wine country. I'm hoping for another massive and great crowd. Everybody's going to be there. Why wouldn't you, after what you just witnessed? What do you think we're going to see out there?
Well, I think, it'll be the typical Sonoma. If the weather is good, the racetrack is good. The safety safari, I'm sure, is already there. I'm actually headed there tomorrow. I've got a couple of things that I've got to do, pre-race stuff, so I'm coming in a day early so I can be there and take care of the business on Thursday. But if the weather treats us nice, I think we're going to be fine. It's a good facility. It's a place a lot of people are comfortable with. It's also a place, there are a few people that go, oh boy, Denver. And there are a few people that go, oh, let's survive Denver. But now, going back to sea level, everybody is going back into their comfort zone. So I expect to have more of the same. I expect to have just a knockdown drag out one more time. Matt Hagen's guys are they've got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder now after exiting early. And, they were giving me a hard time a little bit about my race call, but
that's tough. No, well,
I stand by it.
I'm going to have to go back and listen now. I'm going to have to go back and listen. It was real loud on the starting line, so I didn't hear what you said. What'd you say, Al?
I said Jack Waite is going to the semis, and Matt Hagen has lane choice on I-470 heading for Sonoma.
That is a little harsh, but funny. Like, some people found that to be funny. It's just when it's you, it's not funny.
True.
Yeah. Well, is it factual? That's it. Good for Jack Wyatt, though. Those guys need that. They need that moment. That moment is going to keep them involved in the sport now for the next 5 years. And good for that. All right, this guy wants to know about traction compound shortage. Is 8th mile the solution? I am under the impression that traction compound shortage is not a problem in the National Hot Rod Association.
It's my understanding, and this isn't inside information, just things that I've heard. It's my understanding that we have what we need to conclude the season plus. I know that there is a pipeline issue with some of the stuff coming in. I know that a lot of the weekly tracks around the country have gone to 8th mile simply because it makes the racing safer. And if you can't prep the back of the track and you're running 12-second cars, who cares? If you can't prep the back of the track and you're running 6- and 7-second cars, that's a big deal. So a number of tracks that are having problems getting the stuff. It's my understanding that NHRA's inventory is full enough to get us through the end of the year. Plus, it's just that right now there seems to be a glitch in the pipeline, and hopefully by the time we get to the end of the year, that pipeline glitch will be taken care of, and then we just stock up again and go.
Well, exactly. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the Auto Week Cruz Pedregon article, because I feel like Cruz is getting destroyed out there by some people, because he said, if you don't have the money, stay home. But that's not what he said. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. I think there's just a lot of people that kind of want, I don't know if you ever saw the Matrix movies, Alan. The Matrix movies were really good. And in the original Matrix, everything was perfect, but the primitive human brain rejected the positivity of the original Matrix, and the whole thing crashed. If you didn't see the Matrix movie, you have no idea what I'm talking about. Things are going pretty well. We're having a good season, and a lot of people right now are really working hard to focus on the negative, like to find the negative thing, but we're not going to have parts, right? There's going to be a point in the season where we don't have parts. No, actually, we're going to have some parts. Yeah, but inflation is really hurting and the gas prices are too high and teams are going to not be able to show up, right? Teams are going to skip races because they can't afford to go, right? That's the problem. That's going to be coming up. Well, no, teams have budgeted. Most of them are going to go and everything. I'm watching it happen, and I'm witnessing people like work really hard to find the negative story in an otherwise really positive year, given the circumstances. And I think that that's one of those stories.
There's always going to be somebody that wants to focus on the bad, right? I mean, and I, as a general rule, just don't make time for them. If you want to have a legitimate discussion about, let's see if we can head off a potential problem down the road, I'm all for it. But, when I talk to people, they're like, oh, that was a great race. Oh, well, they ran an hour late. Okay, well, and there's always somebody who's going to find something, and I don't have time. I am focused on the positive stuff. I think we're having a great season. I think we're going to continue to have a great season. If I want to come into my shop, I can look around and tell you 500 reasons why I can't do this, or I can do it, and I'd rather just spend my energy doing it. And that's kind of the way I try to look at everything else as well. If you deliver somebody 2 tons of apples, somebody's going to pick out the bad one and go, look, okay, I'm sorry, throw that one away. I'm going to focus on the 2 tons minus 1 apple that are in pretty good shape. So,
exactly. Well, Alan, great job as usual. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you in a couple days.
Looking forward to it. Travel safe.
There he goes, the voice of the NHRA. Alan Reinhart joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. Spence is saying, except that's literally what he said. It's a quote. Yes. But they, quotes and out of context quotes, or how about the context of the quote, which was kind of unspoken in the article. And I'm not saying it was a bad article. I'm saying it was a very clickbait headline. And as the guy who was running the press conference on that particular day, the questions that were presented to Cruz were, I would call them almost leading questions. And Cruz was saying flat out, he was saying that I don't think that that's good for the sport. And I don't think people who buy tickets, like it was a self-defeating subject line. The commentary about when are you not going to be able to show up and what's a reason for the fans to be disappointed and not show up to the races because drivers are not going to be able to go. And basically what Cruz said was this. He laid it out in the long form, which you can go and listen to, I think is available on NHRA's media site. The way he said it, maybe saying stay the hell home was slightly inartful. And that's why it ends up in a clickbait headline. And if you read the story, by the way, by Mr. Pryson, the story, I think, was generally positive, but the headline is all people read. And I know Terry Haddock, because he told me himself, took it personally. And that's not, but he was there, is the point. There's nothing that any of us can do about the price of gas. You make the choice. You're going to go and you're going to do the things that you love to do, or you're not. You're going to make your budget based on your budget and based on what is vital and what is not. And that's that. And Cruz was saying, do we really want to involve our fans in that? And in the limited time that we have to talk about racing, do you want to talk about racing or do you want to talk about that? Is it better for the sport to spend our time talking about the excellent competition or that? And I agree with him 100% that storyline, as I just alluded to a minute ago, that storyline about parts availability and what's going to happen, and maybe it will happen, we don't know, is no different than right before a race saying, yeah, this race could rain out. This is a race that's good. There's a good chance that this race could rain out. And, the fans out there will be really disappointed if this race rains out. And then it doesn't rain out. And 20% of the people have stayed home because you talked about it that way. And it turned out to not even happen. What's the point of it? That's what Cruz was saying. You're in professional motorsports. This is pro racing, okay? Professional. It's not like Jason Line used to say. It's not hobby stock. It's pro stock, as in the highest level, professional motorsport. And if your biggest issue is you can't get there, that's why he said, stay the hell home. That's why he said that. And if you really do the whole math of the whole thing at the highest level, again, slightly an artful way of saying it, Cruz, right? But it's also true. The person who spends $70 on a ticket, they got their money and they're going. They're going. They're made the call to buy the ticket to go, or they're on the fence deciding whether or not they should go. What do they want to hear? Do they want to hear it's going to be an awesome race with badass drivers going 330 miles an hour? Or do they want to hear, well, a lot of the race teams that couldn't get there because gas is $6 a gallon, they don't have the money. Maybe this isn't pro racing. Maybe I want to hold on to my $70. Maybe I don't want to go be a part of that. And that's unhealthy. And Cruz said flat out, I'm a business person and I plan ahead. You plan for the good, you plan for the bad. There's a budget gap. He's got a great sponsor that supports him, and he plans for that. And I'm sure all these other race teams do as well. Nobody likes to have to pay more for anything. I assure you, I don't either. But compounding that with more negativity is only going to cause you to become in a negativity spiral. Well, you tell your fans the racers aren't coming. There's no traction compound. Oh my gosh, we're not going to have parts. We're not going to have available. Yeah, and that's going to fill your grandstands. That's going to make the sport grow. That's going to bring on a sponsor, spending the limited time that people actually want to talk about this sport, talking about the potential negative things. How about, hey guys, the Stampede is speed. We're going to tell you how to get free tickets here on WFO, but maybe you shouldn't because Giant Meteor might come. Giant Meteor might be out there. And what's the point of going through the process of getting some free tickets to the Stampede of Speed if the Giant Meteor hits us? Because then there probably won't be a race. Oh, Leah is still out there. Great show, guys. I got to dip out. See you in Sonoma. Leah, thank you for watching the show. Leah's out there, one of the listeners today. Great job. Can't wait to talk to you. AJ, great show today. Lauren is already making picks. Yeah, let's put some picks in the comment section, guys. Justin Ashley, Alexis DeJoria, Mason McGahey, and Angie Smith. What do you think about that, Ange? What do you think about that? Pretty excited. Okay. So Spence, I'm not hammering on you. I'm just talking about what I thought was kind of a clickbait headline. And I talked to people who were rubbed the wrong way by it. That's not what he meant. That's not what he meant. That is maybe the words he said, but followed by the quotes before and after, I felt like it was pretty clear that Cruz was saying that kind of talk is not good for the sport. Oh, the price of gas, it's $6, it's $7. Yeah, man, we all know it's a bummer. But then again, we spent a year and a half spending $1.80 for gas because no one was going out. And if you budget X amount of dollars each year for gas and you carry over the surplus from 2 years ago, and now you're in deficit this year, maybe it all works out in the end. Well, nobody does that, Joe. No, nobody does that. I know. Nobody does that. Surplus, spend it. What's Angie say? I'm going to try my best to win my sponsor's race. And our listeners can feel that, Ange. They can feel it. I love that we got Leah. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just happy. Got Leah, got Angie, got all these racers watching this show. Reinhart, like WFO. Click subscribe, share the show, give us a like on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is finally starting to grow. Finally, people have recommended that I get rid of all the other Facebook stuff. We got great photographs from Denver up on our Facebook page. So WFO Radio, NHRA Drag Racing Podcast Facebook page. Please like it if you don't already. In general, his comment was common sense to me. If you can't afford it, stay home, even if it was just one race. Right? Like, why take that personal? Like, you make your choice that is best for you, but don't speak about the whole thing as if it's in danger, which will then signal to everybody else that it's in danger when it's not in danger, as justified by the crowd and the excitement that the people who went felt. Negativity is a virus, and it's catching. When you start being negative, the people around you start being negative, and things turn negative. The last thing we need right now in a sport like NHRA drag racing, in our country like the United States of America, is for everybody to start looking at their shoes and kicking a can and being upset and being negative. That doesn't help. That hurts. The best thing you can do is to be positive and work hard and let's work our way out of whatever negativity is out there. That is just the way to handle it. And the comments and the questions coming from some members of the media in that press conference, and really in the past couple of weeks, kind of driving the story over and over again, to the detriment of our racers, by the way, to the detriment of the racers, which really, what's more negative? High prices or media that doesn't focus in the very limited time that we get on the racers? Instead of doing like Matt Smith won the race, right? You got a column that you're going to write. What are you going to write it about? Are you going to write it about Matt and how he dominated and set track records and made this gutsy call? Or are you going to talk about the price of gas? That's a choice. What's better for the sport? When you make this choice that's not better for the sport, who's hurting the sport? The price of gas or that choice? And I study media stuff, guys. Like, that's one of my things, not just drag racing media, all of it. And I think about how, the timeline of success in life is this. And we, as in people, as in the media, they focus on this. And so maybe in this moment, you make a decision so that in this moment, you can have success. And maybe it's not good for right now, but it's going to be really good for over here. Sometimes that has to happen. Great Ignition Show. Well, it was because our friend Troy built a car and raced a car and got down to the semifinals out of 68 cars in his first ever race. And he tells the story on Ignition. Hopefully you enjoy it. Drag racing is mostly grassroots, so we are different compared to F1, but I do believe more money purse needs to be given to the teams. Yeah, exactly. Except for one thing, we just came out of a pandemic, which everyone forgets about. It was really yesterday on the timeline. And during that pandemic, the longtime sponsor that was the title sponsor pulled out unceremoniously with like 1 day notice. And as a matter of like luck or how great the sport is, we were able to replace that title sponsor. But what we definitely didn't replace was the coffers of a season and a half of partial attendance due to pandemic restrictions not put on us by anyone other than, local governments that were trying to save people. Okay. So we can want to do a lot of stuff right now, but the reality of what happened in the past 2 years is a bit of a hindrance. But I agree generally. Like, I think more purse money would be a good thing and bring in more people. And let's hope we get there. But don't forget what just happened. If I buy a ticket, I'm going to a race and I enjoy the time while I'm there. When I was in VA, when it rained, I met a few nice people under the stands and started wearing out the rain. Exactly. A movie, which is like 2 hours and 15 minutes, plus a popcorn, plus a Coke, movie for two. You're spending 60% of what an NHRA ticket is, and you're there all day. I won free tickets to the Texas Fall Nationals. I've saved money so I can attend in October. Way to go, Blake. Hanging out with Blake out there on the track walk was awesome. There were 139 stalkers, 100 super stalkers at Columbus this weekend. We didn't get the memo to stay home this weekend. Way to go, Brian. Well, right. And the last thing that people cut is their fun stuff. Sorry. Giovanni in Miami said it on the Ignition Show. Like, people, if they're telling you they're staying home from the fun stuff, they're either lying or they're, very budget oriented. People usually find a way. And what's happening right now, you want to compare it to what happened in 2008, right? The global financial housing crisis. There are thousands of people getting evicted. I hate paying a lot for gas. But the reason it's happening is because we made the pandemic go away faster than everyone expected. The reason flights are so expensive is because the airlines gave early retirement to all their pilots because they thought the pandemic was going to last 5 years, and it didn't, although it's still going on. The reason you can't get a rental car is because the rental car companies sold their fleets of cars, and now they don't have as many. and you can't get chips because other parts of the world where we make chips, they're not making as many chips and the demand is super high. The demand is super high. So is that a bad news story? Or is it a, oh my gosh, it could have been so much worse story? That's your call, Angie. I like it. Good job, Angie. Go win it, Angie. We doing a Bachelorette recap? Nikki? No. I didn't watch it last night. I got it in DVR. Should I watch? Did Jordan get on? Nikki, Bachelorette recap. Real quick. Comment section. Go. Sometimes people interpret what they want. Of course. And a lot of people benefit by putting out negativity. In this case, the clickbait or just stirring the pot. How many people post stuff on their social media not because they believe it, but because they just want a reaction? They just want a reaction, man. They just want to interact with some people out there. They want to find a little purpose in their lives, and they want to get some people going, like stir the pot, man. Yeah, let's put something out. Let's put something out. Let's get some comments on it. Let's get it going. And I'm not saying they're sad. I'm not saying that. I've done that. Post a little something, see where it goes. I'm as guilty as anyone else, but you got to know what it is. Leah, Hight, Enders, Angie. That's 2 for Angie. Brittany, Hagen, Erica, Mr. Smith. Okay. All right. The problem is that the older fan base, most younger fans don't complain, but drag racing and sport in general is very divided between no prep, NHRA pro mods, etc. Well, yeah, they are. It's sad because the drag racer, that person, that creature, like we got all these creatures on earth. The drag racer it's its own unique thing. And maybe can't see the bigger picture sometimes. And that's why every once in a while I'll do commentary like this. Guys, see the bigger picture. What's better for the whole thing? And, Palmer, apparently, I didn't talk to Palmer. They brought Top Fuelers to a no prep deal. I got to talk to him about it. Right? If 2 cars going down, I watched Donkmaster the other day. I was at home. I watched on Vice 4 episodes back to back of Donkmaster. Okay. Not NHRA at all, but I met him and, Thomas. And when I met him on the starting line, I didn't know the show. I didn't know the show. Now I saw the show and I was like, man, that's a good show. It's not NHRA drag racing. It's donk drag racing at these grudge races. 2 cars going down a track, racing each other. That's all I need to see. And then I'll make my decision. No prep, Donkmaster, NHRA. We're all in the same game. We're all trying to keep our part suppliers in business. We're kind of trying to keep our racetracks feeling good, doing their job to promote, make the fans comfortable and happy. And they keep WFO in business. Man, I enjoyed the heck out of watching Donkmaster, except I lost 6 hours of my life because I ended up watching, too long. But that tells you it was a pretty interesting program. By program, Salinas, Hagen, Stanfield, Craywick. Yeah, I think a Hagen bounce back is probably in the cards. Thanks for a great show while I'm working on the Hyundai in the shop. Makes the job easier. Well, way to go. Darren Moran. Yeah, well, Angie's said it. Not going to be Matt Smith. It's going to be Angie Smith. Hagen, Salinas, Erica, and Eddie. I'd like to see Eddie get on the board. I'd like to see you win too, Angie. I'm just saying, it would be good if Eddie got on the board. He runs well up there. If the price of gas is a determining factor, if you're going to a race, then you have deeper problems that need to be addressed first, says Darren Moran. How many gallons of gas? Okay, these trucks and trailers require a lot of gas, guys. A lot of gas. That's the thing. It's a different deal than filling up my tank of 15 gallons. They're using hundreds of gallons. But this is professional level drag racing. And it's those Cruz is saying that you should be making budgets and planning for this kind of stuff. If you can't do that, then maybe adjust your budget. Go to one less race. But I want to go to all the races. Yeah, I know. I do too. I want to eat at, I want to eat at Capitol Grill once a week. I want to. It doesn't happen. Although it might look like it. I'm a little surprised, but Hart, I'm a little biased, but Hart going for Sonoma. Car super consistent. His crew won multiple times, different track, different level. I like where your head's at. Josh Hart, looking good. Had a good race this weekend. Antron Tasca, Anderson Angel, Eddie. So that's where it's going to happen, huh? GA is going to get 100 out in Sonoma. All right, I like it. Jeremy, peace out, homies. Great show. Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate you. WFO is big enough to go both Facebook and YouTube, more visibility. Facebook, we get the interaction and the engagement. YouTube, I think, is the best place to share the show. My mom says you're on fire right now. She likes it. Listen, I have opinions, Blake, but there's a right time to share your opinions and not. And that's the Ignition Show. The Ignition Show is where all the opinions. This show is about the drivers, about their teams and their sponsors and all of that. But in this case, I just wanted to stand up for Cruz Pedregon a little bit because I was on the press conference and I saw the article and I read the article. And if you read the article, it's actually very well written. Folks at Auto Week did a good job with the article. What do they need? They need clicks, man. You got to click on that. If you don't click, they don't get ad revenue. You got to click. So when Cruz says, stay the hell home, that's going to be the headline. And so you might say, like, well, Cruz should have been more boring. And then there's no headline and nobody clicks. So it's a good thing that they wrote the article. It's a good thing that they put the headline out there. It's a good thing that everybody clicked on it and they got all pissed off. And now I'm giving you, I think, much needed context to what was said. Context. Jordan got first date, but, oh no, don't tell me anymore. Needless to say, social media bachelorette fans love Jordan. Who doesn't love Jordan Vandegrift? Communists. They don't love Jordan Vandegrift. Robert, Salinas, Enders, Matt Smith. Oh, so Eddie thinks that we're going to go into Seattle with Robert on the verge of sweeping the swing. That would be interesting. Angie, Erica, John Force, Brittany Force. Okay. Great show, Joe. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, everyone. Great spur of the moment winner interviews. Well, we're off tomorrow because I got to handle a bunch of stuff around here. Like I get one day back here. I got to handle stuff around here. And flying back and forth is just brutal. I'm already exhausted, but we tried to get everybody. I really believe that we have to do everything we can to show you these people. They're so awesome. They work so hard. The racing is so cool. The sport is amazing. Come out to Sonoma, come out to Seattle, spend a little time, enjoy. And that's the best I could do. And I had a PBR with TSR. It's great. Yeah, the gas is bad, but I'll say this. The hotel bills these days are outrageous for race weekend. Well, there's all kinds of expense, right? And people are jacking up the prices. Why? Because there's incredible demand. Why? Because people just stayed home for a year and a half, and now they want to go out and they want to do something fun. So what are we doing? One thing that I firmly believe, and I watch a lot of news and cable news, is constant focusing on the potential worst case scenario and negativity is very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. Once upon a time, we'd get 30 minutes of news each night, like news. Growing up, watching Peter Jennings and people before that, you can go back as far as you want. You get 30 minutes of news and it was, good or it was bad or whatever it was. But now with 24-hour news and constant blogs and the political war that's going on in America, you could find something really bad if you really want to. And you could hammer it home as much as you want. You could do that. And you can drive all the people around you into a depression if you want to. You really can. But is that good? Is it helpful? Is it the right thing to do? I don't know. And just like that clickbait article thing, wow, Cruz said, go to hell to everyone. What is, no, he said, stay the hell home. Oh, he didn't tell people to go to hell. Okay, he said, stay the hell home. Let me click on it. Oh, and that's how it works. That's the new system because people respond to negativity way more than they respond to positivity. You have a good experience, you leave. You have a negative experience, you're going to go find somebody and you're going to tell them about it. And that's just, but know that that's the system. Know that that's real. Work harder to give positivity its due. And when someone is focusing nearly 100% on negativity, mention it. Like, hey, man, there's nothing else good going on? No, there is. There actually is. But yeah, things are expensive right now. But I'm pretty sure everybody saved all that PPP money in an account, drawing some interest, right? Like a money market savings account where now your interest in that money market savings account where you put all the PPP money, right? That's going up, man. Savings is going up. Is that happening? You guys get sarcasm, right? Austin, Proc, Bob Tasca, Eric, and just Steve Johnson. That'd be cool to see Steve get back. Always try to include someone who otherwise wouldn't be. Build the sport every chance you have. I had a guy on Twitter, Jeff Gluck, who is a very good reporter for NASCAR, tweeted out green flag times for NASCAR and IndyCar. And ace photographer Mark Robillis came back at him on Twitter and said, why no NHRA start time, man? And so I piled on. Yeah. That's pretty much what I said. Yeah. Why not? NASCAR, NHRA, IndyCar, why not? Why not include us? And so one guy comes back and he's like, because, NHRA doesn't get the ratings and it's boring and it's not even racing and whatever. And so what do we do with that? Man, I could have blew him up. But no, you don't blow that guy up. Have you been? You should come. Make that call again after you've seen our sport in person. And the person who pops off, you don't know what kind of day they're having. Reach out a little bit and try to bring them into it a little bit. Well, maybe you'd change your opinion if you saw it in person. Where do you live? What race is close to you? Come on out, hang out with us. Suddenly that changes their thing. Oh my gosh, man. These NHRA fans, they're not lighting me on fire. They're inviting me in to come see it a little bit better, to understand it a little bit more. That's what people have to do to change everything, to make things better. Do they want it better? Wish they'd reopen Route 66 in Juliet. Okay, boom. It's reopened. And there's a race at the beginning of August that you can go to. There, see? Problem solved. That's what we're doing. We're fixing problems. They have reopened Route 66, and there is a divisional race there, and the success of divisional race there may be the catalyst that gets a national event back there. And the only thing that can help it is for you all to go. And Alan Reinhardt's going to be there. So why not? No, it's not good. Got to stay positive. You got to stay positive. There's Maddie. Maddie's always positive. I don't get sarcasm, but my mom does. We'll work on it with you, Blake. Next time we hang out, I'll give you a sarcasm course. It'll be great. And that's where we'll end it. Guys, it'd be easy to just focus only on drag racing here. But every once in a while, we got to expand beyond it. What makes the drag racer creature in the world unique is because the drag racing creature cannot be stopped. You cannot stop them with budget. You cannot stop them with rules. You cannot stop them with anything. They will overcome. That's what makes the drag racer unique. Let's use that positive energy and overcome. Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Get some coffee, hot sauce, Spice Road. 817-924-6821. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Why don't you drive one of these dragsters and understand all the good things it does to your brain with the adrenaline? FrankHawley.com. Sam Tech, if you want to be involved in this thing as a career for life, become a machinist. Samtech.edu. Plus our great friends at Phillips Connect, Total Seal Piston Rings, and FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. If you'd like to support the show as a Patreon, like a VIP member, someone who pays, they send us money. Shocker, I know. Patreon.com/WFO Radio. Go to the website, click the Patreon link, join at whatever level you want, and then you get to co-host the Ignition Show, like Troy and Stubo and all our great friends. Thanks to Matt down there in Australia, Torque Calibration Services. I really appreciate all you guys. I love coming on. Racing family is like no other. It really isn't. We all love drag racing. We all want it to grow. And we all need to do something to make it happen. Hey, look at this. New Zealand checking in. What's up, Conrad? What's up? All right, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks to our celebrity listeners out there. That was fun today. Thanks to Alan Reinhardt. All right, we'll see you in Sonoma, guys. Appreciate you all. Check out the archive and WFO.